What is up, everyone? We're here with another episode of The Fantasy Football Addicts. I'm your host, Dawson, joined by Mick. And today we have another great episode planned for you. We're going to be doing value picks. So what this video is going to be is picks that we have guys outperforming their ADP pretty much anywhere. So kind of think of like it as a sleeper, how we think a sleeper in late rounds are going to outperform their ADP. Well, value is anywhere. So it could be like someone who's going in the third round we think is going to perform in the top 10 overall, something like that. So anywhere this person is outperforming their ADP, they're going to be a value at where you pick them. So with that being said, Wyatt's not joining us today. He has a lot of stuff he has to do. So it's just going to be us two today, giving you a couple value picks each. And we hope you enjoy this video. If you do enjoy it, though, give us a like, go subscribe, go follow us on Twitter at the FF Addicts. So before we get into it, Nick, you got anything?
No, I like the value pick idea. I think it's a pretty good idea.
I think it's going to be a good video with a lot of value. No pun intended. So my first one of the day is going to be David Montgomery, running back for the Chicago Bears. And we recently just touched on David Montgomery in our Smash or Pass video. We kind of briefly touched on him. But I want to show you why I think he is such a value in drafts right now. He's currently going as, like we said in the last video, RB 24, 49 overall. So that's back of the fifth round in a 10-team league. And he got 250 touches as a rookie last year, guys. That's very rare. Very few rookies come in and just get the entire workload on the ground. And he got the entire workload on the ground. And the only thing that's holding him back, I think, besides the team being bad last year, is the fact that he didn't get much work in the air. And we've talked about over and over how Tariq Cohen has been wildly inefficient through the air. I think they're going to realize that, and David Montgomery is going to see more passing work through the air. On top of that, he only scored 7 total touchdowns. This was a product of the fact that the team was just very bad last year. They didn't get very many goal line carries in general because they just were never on the goal line. And I think that has to improve. Let it be Mitch Trubisky winning the starting job. Because if he wins the starting job, this means he improved, which means he's better at performing with the offense.
Just better than Nick Foles.
Yeah. Well, I think Nick Foles is going to do better than Mitch did last year, right? I think we all can agree.
Yeah.
Anyone can do better than Mitch. So either Nick Foles is going to come in and do better than Mitch last year, or Mitch is going to step up and do better than he did last year. Either way, the offense is outperforming last year, which equals more touchdown chances for David Montgomery. And I think it means he's going to be more efficient on the ground. He only averaged barely over 3.5 yards a carry last year. So with the passing game opening up, that should open up the boxes a little more for David Montgomery. He was facing stacked boxes almost more, I think, than any running back in the league because they just knew they couldn't throw the ball. If they can open up the passing game, he should be able to run a little bit more efficiently. And I think that just all this is leading up to him being able to outperform last year, which you're going to have to draft him on very little value because how badly he performed last year. Like, you're getting him at such a discount. And anyone getting 250-plus touches as RB24 is just a guarantee. He's a workhorse. He's going to get a lot of touches. Get him as RB24. It's a great value. He's going to easily outperform RB24. Nick, who do you got for your first value pick?
So my first value pick is going to be Devin Singletary. I think he is somebody who is being faded because they drafted Zach Moss, and everybody's scared, like, hey, what are they going to do? Zach Moss is going to take over. Singletary's not good is what they're saying. Singletary is great. I watched him play. If you don't think he's good, go watch him in that first playoff game, the Texans and the Bills. He was an absolute stud against that Texans defense, and they had J.J. Watt, DJ Reader. They weren't like a scrub defense by any means. He's being drafted as running back 28, 50th overall, and I think that's an absolute shame on the fantasy community because I think he's going to be a top 17 running back this year. I think he's an absolute stud, like I said, and he can get involved in the passing game. And right. Josh Allen obviously has accuracy issues, and some days Josh Allen's just not going to have it. It's going to be worse. For him, he's going to have good days. He's going to have bad days. On the bad days, Singletary's going to have to carry a huge workload for that Buffalo Bills team because they have an insane defense. They are one of the top defenses. They're probably going to win their division depending on how Cam Newton plays this year with Bill Belichick and how Belichick figures it out. I mean, you can't count them out, but the Bills are still a very good team. Singletary's going to have to be involved. I see Zach Moss is stepping into Frank Gore's role, who basically did third and short, goal line work. I don't think Singletary's much of a goal line back, but he can play 3 downs if he has to. He's not a bruiser, but he is a pass-catching back. He can run the ball very well. And I think he's being slept on by way too many people.
Yeah, I totally agree that the Zach Moss thing is – I mean, I'm not personally targeting Devin Singletary, but I do think the Zach Moss thing is kind of getting blown out of proportion. Because best case, I think he comes in and is Frank Gore last year. And regardless, Devin Singletary was still a productive running back on a points per game basis last year. I know he was injured for a little bit, but on a points per game basis, when he was there for the whole game, getting at least 50% of the snap share, he was performing well. So I think that's what we're going to see at worst this year. If at best, Zach Moss doesn't have as much role as we think, and Devin Singletary even gets even more touches. So I think he is going to outperform his ADP easily as well. Moving on to my second value pick, and that's going to be Marvin Jones Jr. And you've heard us talk a little bit about him on the channel, and we all, I think, love Marvin Jones Jr. for redraft purposes, which is what this is for. For redraft purposes, he is going to light it up this year. For Dynasty, he's a little old. I think he's 31, so 30 or 31. So I don't know if I would touch him in Dynasty, but for redraft purposes, he's a smash for me. As wide receiver 37, 93 overall. That is the 10th round for 10-team leagues, guys. He's getting drafted in the 10th round. His counterpart on the offense, Kenny Golladay, is currently going as wide receiver 7, 24th overall. So they're going 7 rounds difference. And last year, Kenny Golladay averaged 15.5 points per game, and Marvin Jones Jr. averaged 15 points per game, just below 15. So they're averaging a 0.5 points per game difference in PPR. And you're getting them at 7 rounds apart. So you're pretty much getting the exact same receiver for your fantasy team 7 rounds later. So I love Kenny Golladay. I think he's a good receiver. So, it's arguable that he can go in the 3rd round, 3rd or 4th round. Yet you're getting someone producing almost the exact same at a 7-round discount. If you're getting him in the 10th round, that's a value in itself. That's just a smash. Not to mention, he did all this. They both did all that with David Blow as their quarterback for part of the year. Assuming Matthew Stafford stays healthy, assuming he has the fantastic year that I think he's going to have and we all think he's going to have, Marvin Jones Jr. is going to step forward from last year, not decline. So I think the value that you're getting from him is going to be absolutely insane, getting him in the 10th round as wide receiver 37. I mean, that's just a half-point difference, 7 rounds apart. I don't see how you can fade that. If you think Kenny Golladay is going to be successful, you have to think that Marvin Jones Jr. is going to be successful, as we saw last year.
Yeah, I totally 100% agree with you. I think Marvin Jones is going to be a stud again, and you get the discount. It's hard not to take him if he's on the board in the 9th, 10th round.
Right. So who you got for your last value pick?
So I'm going to go with DJ Chark. I think DJ Chark is going to have a breakout phenomenal year this year. He is currently going as wide receiver 22, 53rd overall. I think it's kind of scary drafting Jags players with the way that team has turned itself into in the last 2 years. They were a playoff team, and then overnight it felt like they just crumbled. So I think that's the biggest scare for me, and you don't really know what to expect from Gardner Minshew going into year 2. But DJ Chark and Gardner Minshew combined last year, when those two were on the field together, it was unreal. Those two just had a connection that I have not seen in a very long time. He is absolutely going to do the same thing again, is what I think. I think we've all touched, me, you, and Wyatt have all touched on how we think Gardner Minshew is somebody you should take towards the very end of your draft, because he could pop off this year. And if that's going to happen, it's going to have to involve DJ Chark.
It's going to be on the back of DJ Chark.
Yeah, and I think that some of the weight is going to be taken off of DJ Chark's back this year, so that he doesn't have as much pressure, because they did draft some receivers. They drafted Laviska Shenault, and they drafted Colin Johnson. Those two. I mean, I don't know how much Colin Johnson will be involved, but Laviska Shenault, I see him being involved day one. That's going to make it easier for DJ Chark to find some space, because that defense is not going to have to key in on just him. I think it's going to be insane. That offense, I think, is going to be very slept on. The defense is garbage. So I think that they're going to have to throw the ball a lot if they want to win any football games this year. And DJ Chark is somebody who I think is going to pop off. Yeah, he's going to benefit from it. It's going to be insane. It's going to be a laser show down there.
Yeah, I mean, this is an offense that we're talking about where D.D. Westbrook saw 100 targets, guys. That triple-digit targets for D.D. Westbrook, I mean, obviously that's not going to happen again, I don't think, with Laviska coming in. I think D.D. Westbrook's going to be phased out I mean, that's sad for me as an OU guy, but I do see DJ Chark getting a lot of those targets. And, I mean, they don't really have a tight end presence on that team. DJ Chark is going to get a huge amount of workload like he did last year. And I think he's going to be even more efficient in it because it's another year in the offense, and I don't see him declining at all. So, yeah, he's a great value in the 6th round where you're getting him. So that's going to do it for our value picks. Just a quick little video giving you a couple picks that you can get some value from. Normally we would have had 6, but Wyatt had to cancel last minute. He had some stuff going on. So we do apologize for that, but we're going to definitely have a part 2 of the value picks videos. We're going to start bringing you part 2s of lots of different kinds of videos like sleepers, busts, values, just to give you a couple more that we have, because we have a lot of guys that we want to talk to you about and a lot of information to give you guys. So if you did like this value pick idea, let us know. It's a video we like to do. It's going to give you a lot of value. So if you like it, give us a like, subscribe, comment down below who you think is the best value, and go follow us on Twitter at the FF Addicts. So that's going to do it for us. Thank you all so much for watching. You watched another episode of the Fantasy Football Addicts. Peace.
Draft Clyde.